So today we're going to look at your life 5 years from now. This video topic was requested by a subscriber, so a huge thank you to them. I used to think that topics that were this far into the future were kind of unreliable to do for a tarot reading, but I had a reading, just a general reading by the Gem Goddess here on YouTube, and it was, I think, 3 years from now or something like that, and I remember that reading really well, and she hit the nail on the head. Like, it was just point by point, very accurate, especially for a general reading. So I was like, all right, I guess you can kind of look that far into the future and get a pretty good reading. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna have some fun. I don't know, just do kind of like an open-ended reading today. Those are always my favorite, just looking into the future, picking a time frame and just seeing what comes through. Those are also my favorite readings to watch. If this shuffling takes a while, I'm just gonna edit it. Your bottom of the deck here is solitude. So 5 years from now, it definitely has the energy of you coming into your own. I feel like your cards just really want to reassure you that this period of feeling like you're in hustle mode, like you're in work mode, like you are just focusing on your goals, whether they be career or just your day-to-day routine, like personal self-development goals, doesn't matter. Like whatever you've been hard at work on, whatever you've been putting your intention and your faith towards, it's going to grow, it's going to come to fruition. You are going to see that achievement, and honestly, it feels quite personal to you. Like, this doesn't feel like, oh, I just want to reach a point to where I make X amount of dollars a year. Not to say that your finances aren't improving, because they are, but it's something closer to your heart. So this is maybe like a side hustle, or you know, some sort of creative project that you have put a lot of your heart into, or this is some version of yourself that you've had in your head that you've been trying to become, you've been trying to step into. You know, some of you, with this Hermit next to the Seven of Pentacles, this could look like you spending some time in therapy, you know, like doing that hard inner work, or just doing the work on your own, doing shadow work, just really trying to even reorganize like your day-to-day routine. You know, like if you have always wanted to be the type of person who gets up early, works out, you know, eats a healthy breakfast, and then, you know, or if there's certain hobbies or certain things that you've always wanted to do, or you wish that you could be the type of person to speak up for yourself more, advocate for yourself more, like if there's a different way that you've been wanting to show up in your life, I see you achieving that, because it has this energy of you coming into your own. And I don't know if I said that already or not, but really stepping into a version of yourself that is aligned with the best version of yourself that you can imagine, okay? Like, it doesn't matter what other sort of limitations other people put on you, what sort of box they put you in, or what they've labeled you as. This is who you've always known you could become, no matter what anyone else says or thinks. And so I feel like a lot of what you've been holding on to, especially if we're talking about self-limiting beliefs, I see that sort of just melting away very naturally. And so, yeah, this period of hibernation is coming to a close, and you really are getting back out into the world and, you know, kind of just showing off all of this inner work that you've done. And I think mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you are in the best place of your life. But I also think on a practical day-to-day routine, your life is more reflective of what you've been dreaming, hoping, and wishing for. So let's get some more information about this before we delve into your oracle cards, because I do want to get some more like grounded messages. We've got the Six of Wands here. Yeah, success. Definitely. Some sort of victory here. Like, and it's something that other people can see. Because again, like, you are showing up in your life in a very different energy. You know, like, this is a feeling of self-empowerment, of feeling supported, of feeling lucky to be alive and happy to be here, and feeling like you are living your purpose. You are doing work that you feel good about. You are living your life on the day-to-day, not dreading waking up in the morning, you know, like actually being excited, you know, to start your day and feeling like you have more control over how you allocate your time. You're not being drained and bogged down, you know, just trying to live paycheck to paycheck, just trying to make ends meet, just trying to, you know, be everything to everyone. You're not being stretched so thin. You're having more time for self-care, having more time for things that you genuinely enjoy. It's a very beautiful energy. Can we talk about maybe love a little bit? Can we talk about love, Spirit? We've got the Ten of Wands and we have the King of Cups. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful to come out together like that. This is showing me that emotionally you are going to be in a very fulfilling relationship. So whether you're in your current partnership or you're single right now, watching this, doesn't matter. Regardless of, you know, your current relationship status, in the future you are going to have a stable, committed partnership. And you know, this King of Cups could be you if you resonate with the masculine energy. If you resonate with the feminine energy, this could be talking about, you know, your future spouse, your future partner, future boyfriend, whatever. This is Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces energy, but like I said, regardless, you are going to be in a relationship where you are not having to do all of the emotional labor. You have someone who can actually express their feelings to you, actually express their needs to you. You don't feel like you're talking to a brick wall. You don't feel like you're making all of the effort. You don't feel like you're always the one having to compromise. Like actually having someone who supports you, someone who wants the best for you, someone who just really... I love this King of Cups so much because there's something about the way it's depicted here where it just feels so pure. Like someone who is honest to God, just gonna love you for who you are. And that's what you want at the end of the day. Like you want someone where you can feel comfortable, you can be your authentic self with, and you don't feel like you have to live up to a certain standard or put up a facade of some sort. You know, you're with someone who's gonna love you even when you are having bad days or when you're having certain challenges, someone who's gonna stick by your side through challenging cycles, and someone who's going to genuinely support you when you are successful, because that's important too. You know, you want someone who celebrates, you know, your wins and your successes, which it does feel like a really good time for you, rather than someone who's going to guilt trip you, or someone who's going to be secretly competitive with you, or someone who's going to feel challenged or even emasculated by your success, you know, if you're interested in a man. So yeah, that's very important. You've been through a lot, group one. You've been through a lot, and it feels like this point of reckoning, like, okay, you know, things are looking better. Oh my gosh, the Justice card. And I was just talking about a point of reckoning, and then the Justice comes out with the Three of Swords. So that was Spirit 100% confirming to me that I was right on the money here, because your bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles. So yeah, you've had your fair share of isolation, of people being just really unsupportive, you know, right when you need help the most. People just kicking you when you're down. Yeah, and just hitting you below the belt when you're at your most vulnerable. And to see that ending, to see karma playing out in the way that it needs to see justice being served. I don't like to get too into how other people are gonna pay essentially for like what they've done to you or that kind of thing, just because I feel like even in my own personal life, Like, it's just none of my business. Like, however karma resolves itself with someone else, you know, like, it's between them and their God. Like, it's not my business, you know. And even to see someone else get their just desserts doesn't really make me feel any better. Like, to be like, it just doesn't do a lot for me. So I'm not going to get too far into that, but I will say there are some people in your life who have done you just down and dirty, who have just done you horribly, who have mistreated you. Yeah, justice is being served, you know, and the truth is coming to the light. And I think you're going to feel very vindicated. That's the word that's coming through so strongly here, is you're going to feel vindicated. So yeah, like, karmically, I think you are attracting good people in your life, both romantically and in terms of friendship and like business partners, things like that. Okay. I'm so excited to use all of these oracle decks. I've got some new ones. It's kind of hard for me to decide. I think let's go with this one first. I think I'm going to save my favorite for last. I think that's right. So make sure you stay until the end of the reading because I have a really cool deck. Okay, so group 1 here, 5 years from now. Group 1. And don't worry if you're a man watching this, because I know this deck describes everything as she, but that's okay. We won't pay attention to the gender. So we have She Who Whispers, Secrets, Confessions, Confidant. We were just talking about the truth coming to the light. So yeah, I think if there's some bad people in your circle, the truth is being shown to you within 5 years' time. And you will be able to, you know, remove people or reassess certain relationships in your life and whether those people need to stay or go. And I also feel like with this She Who Whispers card, you're going to be, I think, a lot more discerning. I think it's just going to be easier for you to discern like who is good for you and who isn't, who you're compatible with and who you're not. Again, not just romantically, just across the board. I feel like you're going to just, even maybe, I can even expand this even further, just in general, like what is meant for you, what isn't meant for you. I feel like it's just natural to you. Like, I feel like you're going to be so quick with it and so able to see, you know, like, this isn't for me. Okay. You know, like, not really getting bogged down in that, just letting your life flow a lot easier. And we have She Who Knows, Wisdom, Clarity, and Resolution. You're just going to be able to make decisions, I feel like, a lot easier too. If you're someone who really struggles with indecisiveness, you go back and forth a lot, you second guess yourself, you doubt yourself, this is an energy of feeling really confident, of feeling really good and really content with your choices in life and where you're at, and not living from a place of regret and doubting yourself. I mean, it really is sort of your era to be self-empowered. Let's get one more card. I said that and then 2 cards like flew out way far in the floor. Okay. That's all right. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, yeah. We have She Who Avenges, Nemesis, Revenge, Outcomes, and Justice. I mean, you've gotten justice twice now. I feel like that's the energy I was picking up on earlier when we were talking about there are some people who have done you really wrong and they are going to get what's coming to them. You're not delivering that yourself, you know, like you're not acting from a place of revenge on people, but the universe is just sorting that out for you, okay? Like, and I know, I mean, maybe some of you don't believe in that, but I'm telling you, from personal experience, it's a thing. It is a thing. Like, there will be people that I haven't talked to in a couple of years, and then I'll just hear from the grapevine some things that have happened, and I'm like, whoa. What happened? They're where now? What? Like, it will just amaze you how the universe just delivers people. I don't want to say, because I think sometimes with karma, we look at that as like a punishment or something, but we all have stuff that we need to learn, and karma will deliver those lessons to us, you know? And so I feel like some people are being taught a lesson that they desperately needed. you know, because it isn't okay how they treated you, and it is in the best interest of for everyone that they don't continue to mistreat people in that way. Okay. And then you also got She Who Divines, Future Choice and Judgment. So I don't know, maybe you read tarot cards yourself, or that could be something that you're getting into in the future. I think also, though, with the Judgment being here, it's in the fact that it came out with the Nemesis card, it's really reinforcing this idea that Spirit is speaking, you know, like judgment is being served, you know, like this is, you know, karma is coming in and handling what it needs to handle. I also feel like, though, you are in this beautiful space of answering the calls, because judgment can talk about answering the call of our soul. And so I feel like you're in this really cool space where you're flowing and co-creating with Spirit in a very beautiful way. And that goes back to that idea of knowing what is meant for you and knowing what isn't, regardless of whether it's a person, a career opportunity, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, you just know so easily. And I think it's that alignment with Spirit, that alignment with even your higher self, and just knowing what's right for you and what isn't. When should you be chasing after something, and when should you be letting something go? Okay, let's get some more information here. Group 1's life 5 years from now. We have stars. You can manifest your every wish. So yeah, in the 5 here, so I definitely think within 5 years' time, you're gonna have a lot of major changes in your life. And I think it's starting within and then sort of blooming outward. So all of this inner work is going to be reflected in your external environment. And they really are showing me this seed being planted sort of like within yourself and then sprouting outward, and just this garden kind of emerging from sort of your own inner light, I guess. It's very beautiful, the image that they're showing me. I wish I could just like transpose that, you know, like onto the table here. But yeah, it feels like it is sort of this feeling of fortune or fate favoring you, because you have this authenticity of your soul, this genuine desire to create something beautiful of your life. And I think Spirit is like, yeah, I'll support that. I'll back that 100%. So, you know, it's going to vary for a lot of you, but I think especially if you're an artist or a creative, or you're wanting to do something that will help people in a tangible way, Spirit is really backing that, or even animals, you know, just, or the environment, but Spirit is really backing that. So if there's a career path, or, you know, even just some volunteer work that you're wanting to do, I feel like Spirit is really supporting that. And I think also sometimes sometimes these blessings don't come in a direct way. So for example, like let's say you have, I feel like this comes up a lot in my comments. Let's say you have always wanted to write a novel, and that's been your dream, and you have a desire to write a book that would really help a lot of people. You know, Spirit knows that a lot of people would resonate with the story that you want to tell. And so the way this could look like, you know, Spirit's not going to write the book for you, but, you know, maybe Spirit would have you lose your current job, put a career opportunity in your path that would actually allow you to make more money with less effort, and then when you come home in the evenings, you're not as tired, and then you actually have time to dedicate to the novel that you've always wanted to write. So it may seem like a negative thing in the beginning, like, oh no, I lost my job, but there's a plan here, there's a purpose. So sometimes when we pray for something, or when we try to manifest something, it's not coming in and we feel punished by that. you know, or especially if something bad happens, like we lose our job. But to us, what is bad is actually just a stepping stone to something greater, but we can't see that in the moment. In the moment, it just feels like a punishment. And so, yeah, I definitely feel like whether you resonate with the energy of manifestation or prayer or wishing upon a star, you know, like whatever your vibe is, I definitely feel like you're trusting spirit, you're trusting the process, and you're not feeling so defeated when, you know, spirit almost like makes a chess move that you don't really understand. You know, you're like, why'd you do that, spirit? And spirit's like, you know, trust, faith, right? Like that's the whole point of it, is that, you know, they see things that we don't. When I say they, I mean like your guides, but okay. Let's get one more card here. We have Lavender. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck. It says, surround yourself with love. So if you were wondering, if you had some questions here about your home environment, you know, in 5 years' time, I really feel like you're going to be in a better living situation. Or if you really like your current space, you're going to be doing something like redecorating, just revamping your space and falling in love with it all over again, because there's something there about you feeling a sense of comfort. It really feels like to me like you're going to be living a life that you no longer feel a need to escape from. So if you're someone who daydreams a lot, you like to do things that transport you into another narrative. So maybe you like to read a lot or watch TV a lot, or you like to watch movies or listen to music a lot, you know, like transporting yourself into the shoes of someone else. Nothing wrong with any of those things. I love all of those things, but you no longer feel this need to do it. You know, like if you read a book or listen to an album, it's just for the purpose of enjoyment and adding something to your life rather than trying to escape, you know, or get a break from your current reality. So you no longer live a life that, like I said, you need to escape from. And yeah, I feel like you're resting better, you're sleeping better. There's a real focus here on wellness from a holistic standpoint as well. I should say that. So it's not like you're just focused on your diet or you're just focused on your sleep schedule. It's all encompassing. And that's why I was picking up before. I really think some of you are going to therapy or doing shadow work or getting more acquainted with spirituality. Like there's just a real, again, just like an overall sense of holistic wellness and a focus on your own well-being. And I think socially as well. As you can see in both of these cards, like they seem like they're around like good people. They're having a nice, pleasant time. And, you know, if you're wanting a cat, maybe you'll get a cat. But yeah, overall, on a more serious note, I definitely feel like you're having some good people around you. And even your bottom of the deck here with red, forgive. It's funny they have red here because this makes me think of Taylor Swift's Red album. Anyway, but yeah. This sense of forgiveness. And I think that freedom from the past, you know, not having all of these entanglements, they're showing me like these vines like pulling you back into the past. And those vines are like energetic cords to the people that have hurt you. And Spirit is saying like, no worries, they're being severed, they're being severed, they're being severed. And what is in place of that is this beautiful garden of self-protection that you have created that's very healthy and beneficial to you and very I wanted to say nourishing and then I started to say nurturing, so I was like nourish. Sorry about that, guys. That is very nourishing to you. Okay. All right. Let's move into this oracle deck that I was really excited to use. I had like someone leave a couple of nasty comments on my videos pointing out something about my voice, and now every time I go to edit my videos I keep focusing in on it, and I've been really trying hard not to. So many people have like been very nice and kind about my voice like in the comments, and so I know better than to let one jerk like get in my head. But I have noticed that I keep fixating on that. Like every time I stumble on my words, I'm like, ah, and I didn't used to do that. And so I've been really trying to get back into the mode of filming and yeah, not letting one person mess me up. But it just goes to show, like, be kind. I'm sorry, I'm like taking a little PSA moment here, but be kind. Like, why? Like, if you don't like something, you don't resonate with something, God knows there are so many tarot readers on YouTube. Like, you don't need to be in my comments dogging me out. Like, it's just not necessary. It's so unnecessary. I don't, you're not obligated to be here. If you don't like me, you don't like me. Go somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, I've been trying to not let that affect me, but it kind of has been. So yeah, we're gonna move past it. But anyway, all right. So this is the deck that I was talking about, and this oracle deck, not oracle deck, this oracle guidebook actually has poems in it. So I'm gonna read you all your poems as well. The cards do stick together because they're new, so I'm gonna, and they're also kind of an odd shape, so I'm gonna have to be extra discerning about which ones I take. All right, group 1, 5 years from now, what do we need to know? Group 1. So we have weave with the spider, and then we also have flow. I really felt like this throughout your reading, this idea of you flowing like water, being a lot more attuned to your own emotions, how other people are affecting you, how you are responding to other people, what's triggering you, what isn't, what is healthy for you, what isn't, and really I feel like approaching life in a more feminine way. And not to say that femininity is better than masculinity or anything like that, but I feel like maybe if you were someone who really struggled with control issues, or even an idea of perfectionism, or really struggled with letting things go, releasing the past, or if you were someone who really struggled with just feeling your emotions instead of intellectualizing them, I feel like those issues are kind of just melting away, like you really have done a lot of work on yourself, and I think that you would be quite amazed to see how far you've grown just within 5 years. Like, I know that sounds like a long time, but it'll be here before you know it. I mean, it really will be. And yeah, I think you're just going to be proud of yourself and almost in awe of yourself. Like your current self would be just a fan and really proud of and really amazed by your future self that we're tapping into here. Okay. Now, let's look at this weave card because I want to see. To me, this is really talking about this manifestation energy that we were picking up, and you co-creating with spirit and self-empowering yourself and taking control of your own narrative and all of that. But I want to read the poems, so let's find that here. Oh, these are like misnumbered. That's interesting. Oh well. Okay. And so the spider continues to weave the untold stories left hanging in the air. Of all occurrences in the universe which connected with many threads so fine, with reasons too intertwined to unravel, keep your eyes open for details. Some entail what implies beyond sight. Memorize all unique vibrations. Some actions are waiting to repeat. Hone your senses and your weave shall reveal. I really like that last part. It says, memorize all unique vibrations. Some actions are waiting to repeat. Hone your senses and your weave shall reveal. So it really is, I think, also speaking to how tapped in you are to your own intuition. There's an energy here of you really trusting yourself, And I think that in trusting yourself, you're able to trust in the universe more because I mean, you are connected to source. You know, when we talk about your when we talk about your universe, when we talk about your, you know, self-identity versus the universe, it seems like we're talking about two separate things, but really we are one with the universe, right? We're all connected. And so this is, yeah, like, you're not separate from spirit. You're not separate from source. And so in trusting yourself, you're able to trust in the universe more easily, just as a byproduct of you trusting yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be this intentional action. It just kind of comes with the territory of you trusting yourself more. And this some actions are waiting to repeat, to me, tells me that you are going to be tapping into the talents and skills and things that you mastered in past lives that your higher self has been aware of, but you haven't been consciously aware of. And so you're going to be pulling from things that you excelled at in your past life that today you would think, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I've never done that. But you have done it before. You just don't remember. And so you're going to be tapping into that. That's really cool. All right, let's look at the flow message. This one's shorter. It says, the mountain stands firm and the river changes its course, needless to engage. Conquer not with force, some obstacles favor thoughts, a nimble mind flows. I love this. I love this so much. Conquer not with force, okay? So not using your masculine side, okay? Tapping into your feminine energy and realizing the power of your words, the power of your thoughts. So I think you are going to be speaking into existence not only what you're wanting to see in your external environment, but again, how you are showing up in your life, being the version of yourself that you only dreamed you could be before, you know? Yeah, flowing like water. Beautiful. And I think you're going to be very resolute. You're going to have a very clear vision 5 years from now where you want to go even further down the line. You know, like you have a very clear vision for what it is that you're wanting. And so that just makes it so much easier for the universe to deliver on, you know, what you've been dreaming about. You know, you're not so confused. Your thoughts aren't so clouded or murky because of the shadow of the past kind of looming over you. You know, you've really released that. Okay, let's see. Do I want to get... Let's play around with our astro dice. Let's just see what houses are going to be significant in your future. So let's just, I don't have a clear plan for this reading, obviously, but let's get 3 houses. This may be a little bit loud, so if you need to lower the volume on your headphones, then go ahead and do so. Okay. Group 1, significant houses 5 years from now. Okay, so we've got the 3rd house. So this can talk about communication. So I feel like this, because I really feel like your reading has a lot of depth to it. Like, we're not just getting surface level messages here. So the way that you are speaking to yourself, I think, is going to be very significant. I think also the way that you communicate with others, you're coming from a place of confidence, of self-assurance. You're not a doormat. You know, people aren't walking all over you. People aren't looking at you like, oh, that's the nice guy or the nice girl that they can take advantage of. You know, you're really resolute in who you are and what your standards are, what your expectations are, and people have to meet you there. And I really feel like this also talks about your close interpersonal connections, whether they be romantic or platonic, like we were picking up before, being aligned with soul family members, soul level connections that are positive for you rather than having a bunch of snakes in your circle. And I think also distancing yourself from those who really wish you harm, and being able to forgive them for yourself so you can let it go and you can move on and live your best life. Okay, let's look here. 2nd house. we've got the 4th house. This to me kind of goes back to this card here, this lavender card, when we were talking about how comfortable you are going to feel in your home environment. So many of you could be living in a different place 5 years from now, or if you really love your current home, again, falling in love with it again. So feeling really comfortable in your home environment. Also, the 4th house can talk about family. I also associate it with the mother, just personally. So this could be a better relationship with your family members, or if that's really not possible, then it's going to be you forgiving them, setting those boundaries, and whether that is, you know, ending those relationships or just having more distance or having just, you know, a very clear set of rules in terms of like what you will tolerate versus what you want, reevaluating those close familial relationships. I see that happening as well. Okay, let's get your final house. The 7th house, man, every single one of your houses is talking about your relationship with others. So I feel like the 3rd house was really focused on your friendships, 4th house, family. Now we've got the 7th house. I would say that is your romantic relationship. So yeah, really evaluating your circle in 5 years from now and looking around and having good people around you, maybe for the first time ever, is going to feel really amazing. And it is all because you have improved your relationship with yourself. And when you do that, when you start to show up in your life in the way that you have always wanted to, again, it's that energy of self-empowerment. And so, yeah, you know, I think you're going to be really, really happy with the people who are around you. You're going to feel so supported, and you're going to be able to trust people, and it's not going to feel like there's a bunch of snakes in the garden and I got to watch my back at all times because I know these people don't want the best for me. You know, I know I have some liars around me. I know I have some deceptive people around me. You know, that energy is out the door, which is, I'm so happy to see it. Also here with this weave card, it, you know, a spider weaves its own home. So creating this sense of home and belonging yourself, being able to create that anywhere because you are right and good with you and happy with yourself. And you may have never felt that way. You may have never felt happy and content with who you are, but 5 years from now, that's where you're at, and I'm so happy to see it for you. Okay, so Group 1, this was your reading. Thank you so much for letting me do this for you. It was a real privilege to be able to tap into your energy. I enjoyed it so much. If you want to see more open-ended readings like this, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Hit the notification bell and you will always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. A huge thank you to everyone who has been subscribed, watching my videos regularly, everyone who has donated on Venmo, or if you have tipped with super thanks, thank you. If you watch the ads, thank you. Or if you like my videos, thank you for that as well. Like, just thank you for all the support that I've been getting. And I see a lot of new subscribers, people saying, hey, like, you know, I'm new to the channel, so welcome, welcome, welcome. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in my next one. Pile 2, so let's take a look at your life 5 years from now, and a big thank you to the subscriber who suggested this topic. I just got this deck in the mail yesterday, so you'll be the first group that I get a chance to use this with. I was playing around with it last night, and I really like the energy. I think this deck must be out of print because I could only find it on Etsy, and the cards are pretty small and flimsy, but they are easy to shuffle, so I think it's called the Cat Dreamer Tarot or something like that. I'll have it in the description box. Let's do mostly uprights unless I feel really called to take a reversal. And a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 2, your life 5 years from now. And as always, if the shuffling takes a long time, then I'll just cut it out. All right, group 2. So you have the Page of Cups, the 2 of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. It threw me off for a second there because I was like, wait a minute, like why is it saying cups here, but there's just a Roman numeral here? So that's kind of an interesting thing about this deck, I guess. I guess with the court cards, they actually write it out. But anyway, doesn't matter. There are a lot of new beginnings for you 5 years from now, a lot of projects, a lot of things that you're starting, and it's something that's going to make you feel like a kid again. Like you're going to be doing something that you have always wanted to do, but it's like life, adulthood, responsibility got in the way. Like with this 9 of Wands, like the cat has been defending this post for so long, it's starting to doze off, you know? It's like you fell asleep on your dreams, you know? Like you kind of forgot about something that you always wanted to do because you kept having to put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner. And for some of you, this could even look like with this 2 of Wands here, you really wanting to travel, you really wanting to move somewhere, go somewhere. So you may have had this longing of like, well, you know, I've always wanted to take a cruise, or I've always wanted to travel to Europe or go on an African safari, but you know, life just gets in the way, or, you know, I don't have the money for that, or even just some limiting beliefs like how, you know, like I can't travel by myself, I can't do that thing. I'm just using travel as an example, but this could look like so many different things. And for a lot of you, it is something that you've carried around with you for a long time. Like this is something you have always wanted to do. And for whatever reason, and I think for most of you, it's just the stress of day-to-day responsibilities and just not having the time or the energy or the effort to dedicate to just trying this thing out, because it is something that is very new for you, something that's outside of your normal wheelhouse, and it's something that, you know, if you were to mess up in some way, or if you were to try it and it didn't work out, I don't think it would be something you could easily shake off, because this is a wish you've had for a long time. So I think there's a little bit of a fear of pursuing it, but you're not letting that fear keep you inhibited. You are like, okay, it's now or never. I'm finally gonna do this thing. Let's get some more. Do I want to get more tarot? Let's actually use the cat meme tarot to get some more information about this. And we'll just see what else comes out here. I'm just doing this reading like very organically. Like I've got a bunch of decks laid out. So I don't have a set plan, and your reading may look a little bit different than group 1. I'm just kind of going with the flow today. I feel like messages are more personalized when I don't follow such a set structure. Sometimes I like to do structured readings, but you know, mix it up a little bit. So can you give us some more information about this group 2, please, Spirit? The Hanged Man. Yeah, okay, especially the way it's depicted here. It's very different in this deck. It's having your hand in 2 different places, you know, like on one hand, you have your responsibilities and what's practical and what you have to get done. And on the other hand, you have your heart, and you have this fear of having this forgotten dream, you know, like you don't want to have this regret like hanging over you that you never even tried it. And so you're being pulled in 2 different directions. But, you know, with the Queen of Cups here, you know, going from the Page to the Queen, you are ultimately deciding to take a risk, to take a chance, and you're like, you know what, I'm getting older, it's 5 years later, right? This is 5 years into the future. You're like, it's now or never. Like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it because I've been putting it off for so long. Okay, let's see what else. And it really does feel like for some of you, this involves travel or movement, because just like clinging to the tree here, like clinging to what's rooted, what feels like home, and then this new land over here. Now, if it's not travel, that's fine, but for those of you who are resonating with that message, I feel like this is confirmation. Okay, we've got the Chariot. Okay, are some of you moving for love? Like, is that wrapped up in all of this? For some of you, oh, I can see how this could play out. Okay, this is a more specific message, but for some of you, this really could play out like you have always wanted to live abroad, always, 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 and then you keep not doing it. Like the fear of having to reorganize your life and, you know, get a visa and maybe get like a work permit, and all this stuff is too overwhelming, and so like you've just never done it, and it's kind of just this dream that I don't want to say it's been festering, but it's, you know, just always in the back of your mind, like this what if, what if, what if, and it's a little bit haunting, right? To have that hanging over you. And so Spirit kind of intervenes and you somehow meet somebody or connect with someone maybe online that is from that place. And so then you ultimately decide to move there, not only because you've always wanted to live there, but also for love. That could be a message for some of you. I do have a reading coming out. I think it'll already be posted by the time this one comes out. That's called, Is Your Future Spouse from Another Country? Are they from abroad? So maybe check that out if you haven't already. For others of you, this could be talking about a career goal as well. I could see for some of you, this is talking about starting your own business, like leaving behind a steady paycheck at, you know, a traditional job, you know, where you know what your salary is or what your hourly pay is, and you've got health benefits and all that, leaving that behind and starting your own business, or pursuing another field entirely, could also be a thing as well. So there is some level of risk to this. And you'll know if this is your reading or not, because, I mean, you should know, like, if you've had some sort of dream that you haven't acted upon that, you know, has really been put on the back burner repeatedly in your life. Spirit, what can you tell us about where they'll be living, group 2? Can you tell us anything about that? The moon. Okay, this is still up in the air. And I think part of the reason why it's up in the air is the Chariot talks about a choice. And this Hanged Man does seem like a point of indecision, right? So it still is, you know, you have free will to a certain degree, right? So like whether or not you act upon it in 5 years, they're telling me is still up in the air, but you are being pushed in that direction, and it's just whether or not you want to go for it or not. So with the moon here, you are going to most likely be living somewhere else, but that place isn't set in stone yet because you haven't, like, your future self, the future self that we're tapping into hasn't made that decision yet. So your future self 5 years from now is like, there's something happening that's forcing you to make a decision. Like, it's finally coming up. Like, I either do it now or I never do it. Whereas before, it was always like, I could maybe do it in the future. But I think you've come to this realization 5 years from now that, you know what, if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it. I'm just never going to do it. So yeah, and with the moon here too, I feel like this is also advising you to follow your intuition on this, follow your gut. The Queen of Cups is highly intuitive, so you're not meant to make this choice based upon logic or rationality. You are meant to follow your heart, your gut, your intuition, whatever terminology really resonates with you. And it is meant to be a bit of a gamble. Like, you're not meant to know exactly how it's all gonna pan out. That's the point of it, right? It's like fortune favoring the brave here. Like, you have to take a risk at some point in your life or you will forever be stagnant. You won't go anywhere, right? And the Chariot talks about success. So like, are you going to follow this opportunity for happiness, or are you going to stay where you're at, where you're comfortable, where you feel safe, or where you at least, you know, are with the devil that you know, essentially. Okay, let's see if there are any other messages here. How will they feel 5 years from now? How will they feel? Aww. Okay, so you have the Strength in reverse, but it also came out with the Empress. It depends. It really depends. And I'm sorry to say that, but your energy is very much in flux 5 years from now, because you are, you know, very indecisive at that time. And so Spirit is saying, like, you can feel very empowered if you stay in your feminine energy, if you know, take some time out, connect to your intuition, be gentle with yourself, give yourself patience and grace, and, you know, really tap into your emotions. But if you try to repress that, force yourself to take a certain action before you feel good about it, you know, if you don't approach this, I feel like, with a soft heart, you will really do yourself a disservice. You know, you will be disempowering yourself with the Strength card in reverse. So, you know, Spirit is saying, like, well, you know, it really depends upon you, because there's nothing in your external environment that's really causing this anguish. It's your own self-doubt that is causing this. You know, like, you're kind of doing this to yourself. And I think it's because most likely you've stayed in a place for 5 years that wasn't really your path, that wasn't really, and not to say that in like, oh, your entire like future 5 years is going to be horrible or anything like that, but we're talking about some really big dream of yours, and to have like the opportunity right there in front of you and to still not take it, that's just your own, you know, self-doubt, I think. Yeah, that's just you disempowering yourself. Yeah, and I don't mean that, because I know that sounds, your Fool is the bottom of the deck card here. I don't mean to sound like critical or anything like that, because it will be a big decision, and you are meant to take your time with it, and you are meant to really sit with it, but, and no one could blame you, you know, or fault you, and I certainly don't think Spirit is judging you on this one either for being hesitant and taking your time with it. And it's understandable that you would feel indecisive about it, because it is a big decision. But I feel like if you can remember this reading in the future, and even I would bet you could get here, you could get to this place even sooner if you were more willing to engage in this divine feminine energy and not hold yourself back by always doing what you think you should do or what you ought to do or what is practical. And I know that's really, really hard because of just the societal demands in general that put a lot of pressure on us to be in our masculine energy, but I really feel like just even in small little ways, you know, in your day-to-day, if you can just incorporate more feminine energy, even if it's just changing the way that you speak to yourself, I feel like that would be really beneficial to you. Just being kinder and more gentle with yourself. Okay, let's get some more information on who you will be 5 years from now. Now, this oracle deck here does say she, like on all the cards. So if you're a man watching this, don't worry about that. It still resonates. Okay. Group 2. Who will you be in 5 years' time? We have she who flies, dare, do, and reach. I love that for you. I love that. She who persists, perspective, defiant, and persistent. And then we also have she who whispers, secrets, confessions, and confidant. I feel like this card came out in group 1, but I could be remembering that wrong. Oh, and your bottom of the deck, this is so cute. This is so cute because it's explaining exactly what we've been talking about. Your bottom of the deck is she who resists. So you got she who persists and she who resists. So lots of S's in there. We've got fearless, justified, and resistant. So, you know, there's two sides here, two sides of the same coin. It's that indecisiveness that's coming through again, that back and forth in your mind of like your mind or your heart, your mind or your heart, your mind or your heart. And, you know, it's kind of pointing to me as well. The She Who Whispers card is really pointing me to, you know that saying they say, your anxiety scream, but your intuition whispers? Like if you're having these intrusive thoughts, that's not your intuition, that's your anxiety, that's your fear, that's your self-limiting beliefs that are keeping you in this place of resistance to this opportunity that's being presented by the universe, whether it's an opportunity to start your own business or an opportunity in love, you know, like whatever that dream is that you've been holding in your heart, an opportunity to travel, that's, you know, that's what you're resisting here. But then on the other side of it, you have this potential to reach this new height that you've never reached before. And whether that's success in love or money or, you know, career, it doesn't matter. I think it makes you nervous, this idea of obtaining something you've been wanting for so long, and that fear of, am I good enough? Am I going to mess it up? And maybe the temptation to self-sabotage or to say like, I don't really deserve this, because when you're high in the sky like that, you know, it's amazing, it's incredible, it's euphoric, but then the fear of how far the drop is, right? Like the higher you climb that ladder of success, the greater the fall, right? And so that fear of falling, that fear of failure, that fear of things not working out, I think is terrifying, and I think it's paralyzing you. And so the guidance here is just to simply key into your intuition rather than giving into that anxiety and that fear. So I think we're seeing two sides of yourself that are battling, you know, it's really your higher self versus your shadow self, and who's going to win? Your shadow that's acting from a place of ego and trying to protect you, or your higher self that wants to see you achieve, you know, your full potential. We've got the sun. Paint the sun back into your sky. Yeah, because it is a little bit, I'm not going to lie to you, it is a little bit of a dark time because we got the moon, right? It's a little bit of a dark time just because of what you're going through internally. And, you know, it is feeling like also a marriage between the feminine and the masculine, the moon and the sun, and learning when your intuition needs to take over and when that rational mind needs to take a back seat. But I really feel like you have an opportunity here, and with the 11, you have an opportunity to make your own wishes come true. You know, it's like, if your dream was to paint the night sky, Spirit is giving you the paintbrush, right? But if you want to paint the night sky, you have to actually paint, right? Like we can give you all the tools, we can give you all the resources, all the opportunities you need, the right people to encourage and to support you, but you still have to pick up the paintbrush and paint. We can't do that part for you. You have to accept the blessing and the gift. I think through all of this, though, ultimately you're going to feel a lot more confident. And like your life is yours again, and not just something that you have to get through. And I know like 5 years sounds like a long time, but it'll be here before you know it. Like, I don't even know. Like, I think it's still 2019 in my head. You know what I mean? Like, how are we in 2023? I don't know where this happened. Oh, yeah. I was literally just talking about confidence. It comes with time and practice, confidence. Like, you see this here, right? Like, Spirit gave you the sword. They gave you that spark of inspiration. They gave you the opportunity. They gave you the ticket, but you have to get on the train. And that sun is going to follow you everywhere, right? Like, your inner light is always going to follow you. You can't lose it. You can't lose your own internal divine spark. Like, we're all connected to Spirit, right? We're all connected to Source. And so, yeah, with the 2 and the 3 combining to 5 here, it is a massive change. And I mean, again, some of you really could be moving somewhere here. Because we just keep getting in this whole sense of travel. But you see how she's brought her knees to her chest. You can see how concerned, how worried she looks, right? Like this desire to protect yourself. This desire to stay with what may not be what is making you happy, but at least you're familiar with it, you know? Like, it's, again, the energy of the devil that you know versus the unknown, which can be really scary. And she's still doing it, right? Like, you can be afraid and still do it anyway. And I love that for you, group 2. I feel like that message comes up a lot in my readings, but I feel like it's important. As we spend all this time trying to get our ducks in a row before we make our first move, but life doesn't always wait for us, right? Like, we have to take our chances when we can get them. And this is your chance. This is your moment. So I wouldn't let it pass you by. And for some of you, like, maybe you're creatives and this is like your big break. This is your big opportunity to sign with a record label or get that book deal. Are you going to take it? You know, because for some of you, there could be other factors like, yes, I want to publish my book, but I'm terrified of public speaking and I don't want to have to do a book tour. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a lot of different things. You know, like maybe I want to record my debut album, but I don't want to have to go on the road and do a tour and I know the label will make me. You know, something like that. I don't know, obviously, a lot about the music industry or the publishing industry, but I'm just throwing out some possible examples for you all. Okay, we've got 2 cards here. I lied, we have 3. I think you have a lot going on. I say you have a lot going on 5 years from now, and then your bottom of the deck is literally the Tower. Yeah, you have a lot going on. We have Sword, make the change. I mean, here's the sword here, right? Like, we gave you the opportunity, but you have to actually take the sword and do something with it, just like the paintbrush analogy that we were using before. We have stars, you can manifest every wish. This actually came out in group 1 as well. And then we have gray, endings are inevitable. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, it kind of feels like during this time period, you know in your heart of hearts, like, what you're in isn't sustainable simply because you're unhappy, and you know eventually you're going to have to make some kind of change, but the idea of this wish coming true and that fear of failure and this feeling almost maybe even of imposter syndrome of like, do I really deserve this chance? Maybe like what is holding you back. But I think Spirit is saying, you know, if this doesn't kind of push you, this opportunity doesn't push you to make this change, then you know, you're gonna end up having an ending anyway. It's just not going to lead to anything incredible like this opportunity will. So what I mean by that, you know, let's just say, for example, let's use a love example. Let's say right now you're in an unhappy relationship and, you know, you've been miserable for some time, but you know, you have this fear of being alone and you don't think you can make it on your own, or maybe you're staying for financial reasons, something like that. And this opportunity comes for you to, you know, move somewhere else, and you're afraid of making that move. You're afraid of making that change, but that change will actually lead to you meeting the love of your life, but you're not seeing that full picture yet, and you're afraid of just, you know, ending up in a worse emotional state when you're alone and isolated in a new place where you don't know anybody, and that's that fear of not being competent enough to stand on your own is keeping you stuck. But you know, even if you don't take this amazing opportunity, eventually you are going to have to leave this relationship because either you or your partner is eventually going to have enough, you know, and not want to stay in it because what you've built is shaky, right? Like the tower here, like it's shaky. It's not sustainable. You can't stay miserable with the wrong person forever. Eventually, something is going to happen, whether they leave you or you finally have enough and you leave them. But eventually, something's going to happen. With this sword and not the sword, I keep saying the sword because we got it so many times, but this ship here in the clouds, we were talking about that feeling of being high in the sky, right? And that fear of failure, that fear of coming back down. And, you know, I kind of feel like this is your ship coming in. This is actually what you've been praying and wishing and hoping for. It's reminding me of the Six of Swords, actually. And we did get, you know, that repeating sword motif. So, yeah, like help is coming. Divine support is coming, but are you ever going to get off this pier? You know, is the question. Okay, I feel like your reading is a lot more focused than group one. So this is a big thing happening in your life that I think is going to affect multiple areas. So yeah, I don't know. This deck is really cool. It's another new one that I got. It comes with poems in the guidebook, so I am going to read your poems because I think they're really pretty. Okay. Group 2, their life 5 years from now, please, Spirit. We have cocoon stage. These cards really like to stick together, so it's just because they're new. I have to be really discerning about which cards I take. We've got currents. I was going to say that's going to be really cool if these cards are right next to each other. They're not. Now that I'm looking at the Roman numerals, I see that. But they're like one card separating them from each other in the deck. And I've been playing with this deck, so it's been shuffled a lot. So that's really, it's cool that they're almost next to each other. Okay. So we have, sooner or later, our current husks will start to show cracks. It's a natural process we all go through. Once our newfound selves no longer fit, and the shells of the former, a marvel metamorphosis will begin. In order to grow up, we left some part of ourselves behind. A daunting thing to experience, but an essential part of life all the same. I think that it's that period of being dormant, this feeling of hibernation, this feeling of stagnancy, you know, and that's why you're at this point of now or never, because it does feel like, to me, like you're quite sick of the way things are. You're sick of the current status quo, and you're looking around at your life and you're like, there has to be more than this. I need more than this. This can't be the rest of my life. And it's this moment of breaking free, and I think really coming into your, it's such a shame because you've had this within you this whole time, but it's like you're the last to know. It's like Spirit has always known you've had this potential, and they've been working with you because, you can see the way it's depicted here. We'll look at the actual card. You've had these wings the entire time. And for you to still doubt yourself is such a shame. You know, it's like you were already prepared for this. You were already, I feel like, I hate to say that because I don't want you to feel bad, like you've been holding yourself back, but that is kind of what it feels like to me. Like it feels like your cards are saying, please see your own wings. I mean, we'll go back again to that metaphor of like you being, or maybe not metaphor, this image of you being high in the sky, right? And that fear of falling. But it reminds me of the saying, you know, a bird doesn't concern herself with the strength of the branch because she knows or she trusts her own wings. Like, it doesn't matter if the branch is stable or steady. I can fly. I've got this. So it doesn't matter if this ship in the sky comes crashing down. Like, you can fly. You have these wings. You have the ability to take care of yourself regardless of whatever external circumstances are influencing you. You know, and that's the question mark of the future, creating all of this fear and this anxiety before anything's even come to pass, before any bad things even happen. Like, you're discounting yourself and like mentally going through all the ways this could go wrong, all the ways this could fail. But here's the like deal. You'll be okay no matter what. You're gonna be okay anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you move to another country and, you know, have a relationship with someone else and it falls apart. You'll be okay anyway. It doesn't matter if you start your own business and it falls apart. You'll be okay anyway. And that's just in your head. It hasn't even happened yet. But it's like you're counting yourself out. You're saying already, like, I don't think I can handle this. You know, like if it all goes to hell, I don't know how to pick up the pieces, but you do. You do. You have that ability. I don't know if I've mentioned this on this channel before, but I'm going to tell you something that my great-grandmother always told me growing up. She was a significant part of my childhood. She helped raise me. And she would always tell me, can't, never, could. Can't, never, could. So if I was complaining about something, if I didn't want to go do something, try something new, she would say, can't, never, could. And I hated when she would say that to me. I'd be like, Mama, like, don't say that. But she was right. You know, I was telling myself I couldn't do something before I even tried. Before I even gave it a shot, I was putting myself down and saying, I can't do this. And so, you know, if that's the case, you're right. You have spoken, you have like self-proclaimed your own incompetence without even trying. Like, you're incompetent because you say you're incompetent, not because of any lack of intelligence or creativity or skill level or talent or ability. You are incompetent because you say you are. You think you can't do something, so you can't. And it has, again, like nothing to do, like you have these wings. You're just not using them. And so, and I don't want to be harsh with you. I don't want to be harsh. My great-grandmother was a blunt woman, but I don't want to be harsh with you. And I don't think your cards are meaning to be harsh with you either, but it's just this idea that, and I think you know this deep down, like you know that if you tried, you might just succeed. And that maybe scares you too, because with more success becomes more opportunities, and then there are more chances to fail. And now a lot of people are watching you, you know, and then that can create some anxiety as well. So yeah, I think there's a fear of failure, but there's a fear of success too. Like you're in a very dual spot 5 years from now. Like you are very split. Very split. So yeah, can't, never, could. If you say you can do something though, you might just be able to pull it off, but you won't know until you try. So I hope that makes sense. Let's look at currents here. Definitely like go with the flow, right? That feminine energy we were picking up before. I swear group 1 had some similar messages, but honestly I filmed it on a different day, which is very different for me. Usually I like to do just a whole reading in one day. I'm starting to realize with my new schedule that's just not realistic, but I keep fighting it. I've just accepted it now though, but yeah, so I'm sorry, I can't really remember group 1 at this point, but I feel like if you were drawn to group 1, maybe check it out. Okay, the sea, a primordial source of life. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to pause for a second. Primordial source of life. That's reminding me of cats, how they have that primordial pouch on their bellies. But anyway, okay. The sea, a primordial source of life, calm at times, tempestuous at others. Across this vast blue realm we travel, along and against the current. Some wear themselves without pause, some save their force for better days. Mystic of the sea, be your guide, even though the tides are raging. Weary souls with hope to prevail, will you let the waves take you home? Will you let your intuition take you home? Will you let your heart guide you home? How perfect is this? Yeah. Like, you need to really be in your mystic, I don't care what your gender is, you need to be in your mystic, divine, feminine energy 5 years from now, and you will be A-okay. Like, Spirit is guiding you back home. And this may even be like, I don't know, this wish may be something that was unfulfilled in a past life. Or maybe even something that, a dream that has carried through your family line but has never been realized. So maybe your parents also wanted to start their own business but never did. You know, like maybe everyone in your family loves to cook and you're so passionate about it and you've always wanted to own your own restaurant or your own bakery or something like that, but you just never did it. And no one in your family has ever done it, but it's always been a wish that, you know, people have talked about. It's like realizing that wish. Because this is something that's like deep in your bones. Yeah. And for some of you, again, this could be talking about love as well because of that, you know, like divine masculine, divine feminine, you know, coming together. And here's the thing too, like, this idea of the water being treacherous, right? And just like the moon card, you know, if you're looking at the water, you can't see what's below the surface, right? Like, you don't know what's in the deep sea. It's, you know, it's the night in and of itself as well. And if you think of the moon controlling the tides, I mean, this all is really coming back together. But, sorry, I'm getting a little overwhelmed with the energy. What was it? I'm losing the thread a little bit. I'm trying to pull it back because the messages are coming in so quickly. Oh, yes. So the tides may be unpredictable. The water's choppy, right? Like, it's nighttime, it's scary. There's a lot of things going on beneath the surface that you can't see. And yet, through all of this chaos, the water is pushing you home. So it seems treacherous, it seems scary, it's unknown, and so there may be things in your life that seem like they're going haywire or that seem like they're going wrong, but actually all of that chaos is pushing you to this opportunity, pushing you to the right path, pushing you to realize this wish, realize your wings, like find your power. It's all intentional. Like, it seems so chaotic and so random and like everything is in flux and you're in this like horrible like transitional period and everything's just up in the air and you can't stand it. You hate it because you want to feel grounded. You want to feel rooted. You want to feel secure and safe. Like, your shadow is like, we want to be safe. We want to be comfortable. But all of that is like Spirit saying, like, there is a method to the madness. Like, it isn't looking clean, it isn't looking pretty, it isn't nice and tidy and easy to understand how we're moving about all these pieces, right? All these moving parts, but there is a plan here, there is a purpose, and we're helping you. It may not make sense to you. You may not like, you know, again, like the way we're going about it, but we are helping you. We are helping you. Please stop resisting us, is really the message here. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I did for the other groups. I think I got houses for them. Let's do that for you too. Okay. So let's just find out 3 significant houses that are going to be, you know, a big part of your life. You know, things are going down in those areas of your life 5 years from now. So this may be loud, so I don't know if you need to go ahead and lower the volume, but let's get 3 houses. And if we have repeating houses, that's fine. So we've got the 12th house. So this is associated with Pisces. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, you did get the moon card as well, and there's been a lot here about mystic and feminine energy, which I associate a lot with Pisces. And then also that idea of two fish swimming in the opposite direction. I always say that Pisces is the water sign of, it's sort of the Gemini of the water signs. You know, this like indecisiveness, this like push and pull, you know, trying to go two different ways at once. And so it's that part of you that is really seeking that thing that's going to make you so happy versus staying where you at least feel comfortable and safe. Okay, with the 12th house, I feel like your dreams are going to be really significant during this time. There's going to be a lot of strange like messages and synchronicities and like angel numbers, and you're going to feel a little bit mad. You're going to feel a little bit crazy during this time because you're like questioning like, is this a mistake I'm about to make, or is this really like my opportunity from spirit? Is this really my big break, my big chance here? And yeah, I feel like other people around you may be telling you to play it safe, but you know, you're really meant to delve deep into your own psyche and really look inside, you know, like your own heart, as corny as it sounds, but really getting in touch with yourself and what you want at your core. So I feel like your inner world is actually what is being indicated here. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your intuition, because remember, your intuition whispers, right? Your anxiety will be screaming at you. Your 3rd house, so your friendships are going to be significant during this time. Communication, so this would actually confirm a long distance relationship if you were feeling that, because you would be messaging a lot, you would be talking on the phone a lot, right? Like trying to connect with that person even though you're not physically there. So you would be using, you know, a lot of technology to do that. So yeah, and you would be, the way you would connect with that person would be through talking, right? Because you're not physically there, you can't touch them, but you can talk to them long distance. This could also be signifying for those of you who are resonating with like, yeah, like I've always wanted to be a writer, but I've never given it a chance, or anything that involves communication, writing. So it could also be talking about something that involves public speaking as well with the 3rd house here. 3rd house can also talk about our community. So if you're resonating with that message of moving somewhere, this would be indicating a change in your community. All right, let's find out the last house. 12th house again. Yep, okay. Spirit has spoken. I mean, and I think we got that message. I think I made a point of saying that in the beginning, that 5 years from now, it's less about what's going on around you and more about your internal world and how you're responding to it. Because with that Empress card and that Strength in reverse, you know, it's what you make of it. You know, you can make it hard on yourself, or you can make this the easiest decision in the world. You know, like it's all in how you believe in yourself, how you talk to yourself, and your capacity to connect with that feminine side of yourself, connect to your inner world, your inner psyche, connect to your heart, your intuition, your emotions, and have a good sense of like what is actually going to emotionally fulfill you. And if you are resonating with messages about a creative endeavor, the Empress card would very much indicate that as well. Okay. So group 2, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I know it was a very different reading from group 1. I have like a hazy memory of group 1. I think there may have been some overlapping messages, some repeating cards. So I don't, like, again, like if you were drawn to group 1, maybe check it out. But I know your messages were a lot more spiritually focused and a lot more focused on your inner world. And so I hope some of you weren't disappointed that we didn't get a lot of like grounded messages. But I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, I can't always control how this goes. And I really shouldn't be, you know, it's really up to spirit and what your guides want to tell you. Just the messenger, just a humble messenger over here. I hope that this was enjoyable for you, though. And again, a thank you to the subscriber who suggested this topic. And I hope you all subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, hit the notification bell and you will always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. A huge thank you to everyone who's been donating on Venmo, tipping with the super thanks jar, everyone who's been commenting, liking, just being a regular viewer. Anyone who's been watching the ads, like, a huge thank you for all the support. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day. And yeah, go easy on yourself, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself. It definitely doesn't hurt. Take care. Group 3, so I'm not going to lie to you, it's been kind of a hot mess trying to get ready for your reading. They're doing construction outside on my street and I've been waiting for them to shut down for the day and they just keep going, so hopefully you all don't hear too much background noise. I really need to film and edit this video tonight because this weekend I need to move on to filming the February prediction. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, so bear with me. I'm also not going to shuffle on camera like I did for the other groups. I cut my nail and it's bleeding and I've got a band-aid on it and it just looks gross. So that's kind of where we're at, but welcome. And thank you all for your patience and understanding. I will say though, just looking at your tarot cards, you all may be my favorite group. I mean, you have some really great energy here. And like I was telling group 1, I used to think that doing readings this far into the future were kind of unreliable just because of how, you know, much things can change in terms of energy and even just our own free will. But I had a reading from the Gem Goddess and it was just a general reading and it was like 3 years from now, and when I remember that reading, so much of what she said actually came to pass, and a subscriber suggested this topic, so I was like, you know what, let's do it. We'll do 5 years. So you all have the 10 of Coins, which is the 10 of Pentacles in this deck. You have the 7 of Sticks or the 7 of Wands. You have the Teacher or the Hierophant in this group. You have the 9 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So a lot of earth sign energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. I love this for you. Like, I love this so much because you are in a place 5 years from now where you really are working very hard. Like, your schedule is full of work-related things, but it's not an energy of busyness where you feel stressed and things feel hectic and chaotic. It's not like that. You know, with this 7 of Wands, like, yes, you have a lot of stuff going on and a lot to do, but like, look at how peaceful this ghost looks. Like, it's not stressful because you are doing what you love. Okay, and you're able to manage your own time. You have a lot of personal freedom and you are adequately, more than adequately, compensated for your efforts. You know, the work feels different when you're paid what you're worth, right? Like, you know, speaking from experience, you know, when I, you know, was 18 and, you know, like working a standard like minimum wage job, yeah, I would get fed up like really easily. I would think all the time, like, this ain't worth the check. This ain't worth my time. This isn't worth me coming in here. Like, this is awful. Like, you know, I'm so underpaid. And, now that I have graduated school and I'm not working, in the same like capacity, like I'm not doing any hard labor like I did at my first job, when I was 18, but I'm getting paid so much more. And so, yeah, I think it hits differently when you're like adequately compensated for your efforts, you don't mind the work as much and you're doing something that you're passionate about. And I think it's that freedom, that ability to schedule your time and to make your own decisions in terms of your workload and just how you go about your day-to-day feels so freeing to you. It feels so liberating. And I mean, you really are just, with the 9 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, like, you are very wealthy, So it's not just about the money. It's about having the things that make you feel safe and secure and joyful, And so it's a nice little juxtaposition here because, it's like in terms of like your wealth and your money and your stability and your security, like you are very abundant, and you would think that to get to that place, you would have to be in a very like masculine, disciplined energy, but that's not what I'm picking up here. What I'm picking up is more of a divine, feminine, mystic energy, which is really funny, because we don't have the High Priestess, but that's what I'm feeling, and I really think it really comes down to this 7 of Wands, like you are just feeling so at peace, like your life feels very fluid. It's like you're so busy, but it's not structured. It's very fluid, and I think it's because you're able to adapt your schedule to your own personal needs. And that makes all the difference, like if you're feeling really energetic, then you can work so hard for 2 weeks. But then if okay, like around this time of the month, I'm feeling like really drained, really down, I tend to, like fall off a little bit at the end of the month, then you would be able to schedule your time so at the end of the month, you have more time for self-care, more downtime. Or if like your friend's going to be in town one week, you can organize your schedule so you can spend time with that friend. And so you're taking care of different needs, but still meeting your obligations in terms of your work life. Yeah, so it's really, really beautiful. And I do feel like having your home and having your space and having that secure base, even if you're working from home, you still have a separate area where, that's where I work. That's my studio, that's my creative space, whatever, versus this is where I live, this is where I spend my downtime. And so, yeah, I really feel like you're going to be very happy in your home environment and very happy with your workspace, whether, again, it's inside the home or outside of the home, you're just very happy. I also feel like you're very influential, like very influential during this time period. You have people who respect your work, people who revere your work, people who are interested in what you're doing, people who look to you as an inspiration. I mean, it's really just a very successful energy here. And the best part about it is that you're not working yourself into an early grave trying to maintain it. So yeah, very beautiful start to your reading here. Let's get into your oracle cards now. We have Revel, Manifest, Charm, and Play. And we have Take Flight, Daring, Bravery, and Certainty. Certainty is such a beautiful word, isn't it? Like, you feel good about your choices. You feel good about where you're at. You feel like, you're headed in the right direction. And with this Revel here, you have time to really pay attention to the details of your work. There's not this energy of having to rush around. You're not putting in 50%. You're not having to be sloppy or cut corners because of a time crunch. Like, you really are able to take your time with your work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling for you. Because I do feel like there's an integrity to what you do. And I also feel like you understand where your limitations are, and where the line is where, you know, okay, I need to hand this over to God, or I need to hand this over to the universe, you know, spirit, whatever, you know, you resonate with, or if you pray to a certain deity, you know, I'm going to hand this over to them because this is outside of my control. Or even if you work with archangels, you know, but yeah, I feel like that keeps your stress level pretty down as well. You know, it's kind of like if you were a farmer. You know, like you can do everything possible to have a great crop yield, but the weather is the weather, right? Like there's just certain things that are outside of your control. And so I feel like you know when to pray and you know when to work. And so there's a beautiful balance there. So you're not so stressed. So your mental health is looking great 5 years from now. And I feel like you're also to a place where you feel stable and secure enough in your financial situation and the progress with your business, or, you know, your level at your company, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, that you feel like you can take risks. You know, like when we feel stable and secure, you know, then we feel comfortable to take a risk. It's always funny with risk taking because the people who take the biggest risks are either the people who have nothing left to lose, who are at rock bottom, or the people who are like way up at the top and are like, yeah, you know, if I lose, I don't know, $20,000, it's not going to hurt me. You know what I mean? So you're in a place where, you know, you feel like you can be adventurous. You feel like you can do things that are outside of your normal wheelhouse because you have this stable backing. You have, you know, they're literally showing me like stacks of money, like building a floor. Like you have this safety net of money, and so, you know, it's no concern, it's no worry for you to take some risks here. And I also feel like because you're feeling so confident in your work, you're more willing to step outside of your comfort zone in terms of your social life as well, because you're just feeling so good about yourself. So you're not going to stay in an unhealthy partnership out of a fear that you can't do any better, because you're feeling super confident, right? You're not going to keep fake friends around you because you think, well, you know, it's better to have some friends than no friends. You know, what if I can't meet other people? You know, you're just not keeping bad energy around you out of a fear that, I guess, out of a lack mentality, you know, like you are confident and know your worth. And so, yeah, I feel like you're definitely open to meeting new people, and you're open to distancing yourself from anyone who's treating you very poorly as well. Okay. I really hope you all can't hear the noise outside. I apologize if you can. Okay. We've got turquoise and forget-me-not. Balance, cracking open, deep healing, balancing karma. And we have diamond heartseed crystal, golden age wisdom, DNA activation, Lemuria, priestess awakening. Okay. Remember how when I was looking at your tarot, I said I felt a feminine energy, even though there wasn't really evidence of that? And I even said, like, I know we don't have the high priestess here, and now in your oracle, we have priestess awakening. So yes, there was a reason for me saying that. I love this. I love this because you're really in this place where you are able to pour yourself into what you're creating. And I really feel like for most of you, you're doing something creative in relation to your work. Even if it's just running your own business and having the creativity in terms of, you know, like how you mail out orders to customers. Like you see that a lot with like Etsy stores where they'll put in like personal little like letters or little thank you notes to customers, you know, like little personal touches. Or even just designing like what your website looks like for your own online business or something like that. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit off track here. I feel like you're able to pour yourself into your work. And I think that if you are someone who has encountered a lot of pain in your life, this repeating kind of like blue flowers here, I don't know why I'm hearing like forget-me-nots. I don't know if forget-me-nots are blue flowers or not, but I think that there's some things that you've been holding on to, and you're transmuting that pain into something that is quite beautiful and something that you're really reaping a lot of, you know, financial gain from here. And I feel like it kind of gives this energy here of you're at this point of success, right? And that in and of itself is a reward, but it's almost like you taking karma into your own hands, and it's not you exacting revenge upon people who have hurt you, but more so you going out there and grabbing what is yours, what is meant for you, and what you were destined for, and what certain people may have tried to prevent you from realizing. So maybe certain people in your life told you that you weren't good enough, or tried to minimize your abilities, or, you know, get in your head and make you second guess yourself, really preyed on your insecurities, people who are jealous or in competition with you, things like that. Yeah, anyone who really exacerbated, you know, feelings of insecurity within you, it's like you are doing it not to spite them, but more so because this is what is just. You know, like, it is fair for you to have this level of success. It is right for you to have this level of success because it was always within your birthright. Like, you didn't have to earn it because it was already yours. You know what I mean? Like, you were always meant for this. And, you know, it's like betting on yourself. You know, it's like, I'm going to rewrite this narrative where, you know, I'm not a victim of people who have wronged me. You know, so it's kind of like rewriting that story, like you're a survivor of it, and now you're using that pain that you felt and channeling it into something quite beautiful and successful, and something that's going to build you this sense of stability and security. And I mean, like, yeah, like, you're working hard for it, but, and when I say you don't have to earn it, what I mean by that is you don't have to prove yourself to anyone except yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you had to awaken to your potential. Those other people honestly always knew what your potential was. That's why they felt the need to put you down in the first place, right? Because they were really intimidated by you, because otherwise there would be no need to be mean to you in the first place, right? So I think that's always important to understand as well. But yeah, so this is a very healing time, a very therapeutic time for you, but you're initiating all of this. You know, you're doing it for yourself. And I know there's a lot of messages coming in, and I hope that they don't sound, I hope I'm not expressing them in a way that's convoluted. I hope that it, you know, is making some sort of logical sense here. With the DNA activation, actually, that just reminds me of, like, me saying, this is your birthright. You know, like, this success is what you were meant for. You know, like, you were given these God-given talents for a reason. And yeah, so awakening to that high priestess energy, awakening to your own intuition and this idea of this ancient knowledge, these, yeah, like something that was coded within you, and just awakening to those talents and skills, and, you know, stepping up to the plate, you know, stepping up to that level that, you know, your spirit guides always knew that you could achieve. And that benefits the collective, really. You know, it's not about you just doing all this to make some money. You know, like, ultimately, you were meant to help the world by what you're creating, even if it's just bringing a smile to people's faces, even if it's just entertaining them for a short period of time, you know, like, that does help. Every little bit helps. And I'm not minimizing, like, your impact on the world or anything like that, but I definitely think that sometimes, I think culturally, we can devalue the work of creative people as, you know, not being as important as like our doctors or something. And it is important in the same way that, you know, like mental health professionals are just as important as those who treat our physical body. Like, you know, people tend to devalue those who work in the mental health field because it doesn't seem like tangible. It becomes tangible when people start to engage in self-harm, but it's like it shouldn't have to get to that place before, you know, people have access to help and treatment, right? So that's a whole different discussion. But anyway, I think you all get what I'm saying. All right, so wise, healing, very balanced. Okay, let's move on. We have communication. Oh man, I think I showed you guys the Band-Aid, I'm sorry. We have communication. The sharing of insight and ideas are embodied through the art of communication. And then we also have beauty here. Beauty is unveiled by the lustrous light within. Okay, if I were to read these two cards together, I really like the message. It's very cute. It's telling me your beauty speaks for itself. So not only are you like physically feeling really good, you're probably having a glow up during this time, you know, your money's right? So you're probably able to indulge yourself in facials or, you know, nice skincare products, or I don't know, makeup you've always wanted to buy, or, you know, a nice new wardrobe, you know, some fragrances, I don't know, whatever it is that you're into. But beyond that, your beauty speaks for itself. So it's the way you show up in your life. It's your confidence. It's the fact that you're glowing. You know, we look better when we're happier. Like we really do, right? Like if you're walking around with a scowl on your face and you're tired and you haven't slept in days and your job is creating burnout and your life is stressful, you're probably not looking too good, right? But if you feel passionate about your work, you don't have any like financial stressors going on, you're gonna feel better, right? And so I definitely feel like your beauty is speaking for itself. You know, you're just glowing. And I feel like you're at a place where you're not seeking external validation from others. You know, like you're at a place where physically you feel really good and you're not looking to a romantic partner to make you feel beautiful or attractive. You're not looking for any validation on like social media if that's your thing. So yeah, really great place in terms of your self-love. Also here with communication, this could be signaling that maybe you're doing something that involves communication within your work. So this could mean that you work as a business owner and you have to communicate and delegate to your team. This could signify that you do something that involves writing. So maybe you write books or you write screenplays, or I mean, writing can be involved in so many things. This could be like starting a blog even. Or it could even talk about oral communication. So like a YouTube channel would be an example of that. Yeah, so definitely a lot of options here for communication. This could also be signaling Gemini energy. And just with having the Teacher and now Beauty, I'm also seeing Taurus energy. And we had a lot of Pentacles in the beginning as well. I'm also getting this message that, sorry, the noise outside's getting louder. I'm also getting this message that your home environment is going to speak to you. So it's sort of like you have been able to decorate your space in a way that speaks to your soul. You know, like this feels like home. This feels like my space. So you're likely living by yourself, or you're living with a partner who just gives you full reign to, you know, decorate to your soul's content. So yes. Okay. Group 3, I'm so sorry. I forgot to use this oracle deck. So I'm just going to insert it somewhere in your reading so you'll see a little jump cut. Okay, this deck is really special to me. It's a new one that I got from Etsy, and it comes with a guidebook that has poems in it. So I'm going to read you your poem for each card, and then we'll get into your messages. I will say right off the bat, I love this card so much because you got Capricorn energy quite a lot. I may be spoiling something for you, but you got the 10th house. I don't know if you've seen this yet in your reading, but you all do end up getting the 10th house, which is associated with Capricorn. And then you got so many Pentacles cards in your tarot. So, and just the entire energy of your reading, Capricorn is associated with the goat and this idea of climbing this mountain, right? And if you've ever seen a YouTube video, or maybe in person, I don't know, of a goat climbing up and down a mountain, it's terrifying to watch. Like, it's amazing how they're able to scale these tiny, tiny ledges, and it's very like nerve-wracking watching them do it, but they have to, right? Because they have to feed their babies and they have to sustain themselves, and they got to go up and down the mountain to look for food. So you're able to do these incredible things that you really didn't think that you would be able to do. And if you see, I know I'm getting into your messages now, I can't help it. But if you see the gap here, like, you are closing the gap, you are bridging the gap between where you were and where you wanted to be, you know? So like that space between where you were and where you wanted to be has closed, and you have now achieved your potential. And the best part about that is that you didn't think it was possible before, and yet you have achieved it. So you're really, you're in this phase of self-empowerment, but also self-realization. I think more than anything, you are just awakening to that potential. And I think it's because you're pushing yourself more and you're taking more risks and more chances in your life. And as a result of that, you are now seeing how far you can go, you know, versus you just staying in your comfort zone, right? Like, you don't know what you're capable of until you try. Okay. Let's look at opportunity here. Oh, this one's short. The trail is fresh on snowy mountain. Trust in your instinct and leap beyond what fate dictates. Fortune favors the bold. I say that all the time in my readings, like fature. Fortune. I went to say future and favor at the same time. I'm sorry, it's late and I'm getting silly. I waited until it was dark outside and they are still working out there. Like, I feel awful. Like, they need to go home. It's not safe to be working outside in the dark. Anyway, okay. So, leap beyond what fate dictates. It reminds me of your karma message that we got earlier in the reading, and that idea of you almost taking karma into your own hands, like not being limited by your past, really. Yeah, beautiful. Like, it's almost like you're tempting fate. Like, you are doing something that is risky, and yet, you know, like, you're rolling the dice and you know it can go left. Like, you know it can go horribly wrong. Like, you could fall into this pit, right? And it's like, you know, it's like fortune is, you know, watching you and being like, look at them go. Okay. Like, you know, like, you're having fun. And I think that fortune is taking a liking to you because of that. And so fortune is like, I can take this person really far because they're willing to go out on a limb. And so because of that, you're gaining bigger rewards. So definitely opportunities are opening up to you, but you're also creating those opportunities yourself by being brave enough to really make something out of nothing. You know, you're willing to take a chance. And I think a lot of times with success too, you have to be open to making a fool of yourself. And that's the hard part, right? Because our ego tries to protect us and keep us safe, you know, and doesn't want to feel any shame, right? Doesn't want to feel any embarrassment. But you do have to put yourself out there. So this could be you putting yourself out there in front of an audience, you know, like maybe you've always wanted to be a comedian. That takes a lot of guts, right? To like put yourself out there and go out on a stage and try to make people laugh. Like, if it's just crickets out there, I mean, that's going to be a huge blow to your ego, right? Like, that would be so embarrassing to just flop. Same thing if you're a musician and you're putting out an album, or if you're starting a YouTube channel and you got people in your comments being like, man, you are just awful, you know? So definitely there's lots of ways that we can apply this, right? But I think you're not afraid to make a fool of yourself. And this looks like the Fool card, right? Like, what is the Fool doing in tarot? He's walking off a cliff. Like, that's what you're doing. Like, you're taking a chance. You're not afraid to start something new. And yeah, I think it's paying off for you in a very big way financially. Okay, let's look at this Crescent card here. Already, this is giving divine feminine energy. This is giving self-love energy. But let's get into it. Okay. It says, at its heart, the moon always remains whole, and Crescent is but one facet of it, occasionally eclipsed by a mere shadow. But firm on its course the moon is, transmutes itself from one phase to the others. Sliver of light shall turn full once again. This is precisely the nature of the moon. Constantly in motion, unfettered by any demand, waxing and waiting for eternity. I really like this because it's reminding me of how we were talking about you being very busy and focused on your work and yet still being in a feminine energy. And I think this is talking about how much of yourself you give to your work, and you being able to decide how much of yourself you share. This could really look like you having an audience or having a customer base that's really, really tuned in. So like maybe you're creating a product or creating some sort of art that is consumed that does involve you sharing your story on some level or sharing some personal details about your life. And you deciding how much of that you share. So if we go back to our comedian example, you know, a lot of comics put in, you know, personal anecdotes about their life, right? And they reflect on their life and they make it funny. But, you know, sometimes comedians joke about really dark, traumatic things. And that's actually called sublimation. I've been studying for my social worker exam, and that's one of the defense mechanisms is sublimation, like essentially like taking something that would be socially unacceptable, like crying, and, you know, instead of crying in reaction to a painful situation, you make a joke, and that is rewarded because to be funny in our society is something that, you know, generally speaking, people get rewarded for, right? Like people like to laugh. So you deciding how much of yourself you show to your audience or how much of yourself you infuse into your work. And I think you are also going to be discerning about how much of yourself you give to others, your boundaries with others, how much you share in your personal life. You know, who do you give your time to? Who do you give your energy to? And how much do you hold back for yourself? You know, and I think that's going to be quite significant for you 5 years from now. Let's see. And also that message that we had before about you being able to decide how much of your time is devoted to your work, and then when do you need to scale back. And you know, it's like you not having like a consistent work schedule, but rather you having a work schedule that is reflective of your energy level and how much of yourself you're even capable of giving. So you're not working yourself to the point of burnout. You're still taking time to, you know, do your self-care, work on your mental health, all that good stuff. Beautiful. Okay. So you'll get back to the rest of your reading now. Let's move on. We are going to get messages about your love life too. That's just coming at the end. We have She Who Yearns, Yearn, Longing, and Pine For. We have She Who Frees, Liberation, Unrestrained, and Freedom. And then we also have She Who Radiates, Knowing, Ambition, and Confidence. Now, I know all of these cards say she. If you're a man watching this, you can just ignore that. That's just how this deck is. So anyway, yeah, definitely this Radiates card is making me think of what we were talking about before, about you glowing and you just radiating this light because you feel happy with your work and you feel really confident. You feel very self-sufficient during this time. You know, like, you kind of have this energy of, like, it doesn't matter, like, what happens. Like, you're not having a lot of anxiety about the future because you have this feeling of, like, I can handle it, I got this. Because you've come so far, you know? And this also reminds me of the risk-taking message we had before. Like, you're totally okay taking some chances, mixing it up. Like, you just feel like you got this, you know? Like, it doesn't matter. So, like, if you get this urge to take a month off and go travel, you just go do it. Or if you have it in your mind that you want to expand, I don't know, like your brand, you know, maybe you have an Etsy store and you're like, you know, I've always sold candles, but I think I want to start selling some other items like crystals, or I don't know, I want to create a tarot or oracle deck. I'm just making up an example. But anyway, you know, you feel confident enough to do that. You're not in your head worried like, oh no, but what if, you know, my audience doesn't care for that? What if I can't market that? Oh, I've never sold that before. How do I find suppliers? Like, you're not so anxious. You just systematically break down these larger goals and create, you know, smaller objectives, and then you go for it, you know, like you're not second guessing yourself. It's a really confident time period for you. Now, this She Who Yearns, there is obviously something still missing in your life, okay? So, 5 years from now, things aren't perfect. Shocker, you know? Oh my God, click off the reading. Like, it's not perfect. There's still something missing. There's still something missing. And it's something that we haven't talked about, right? So, as of right now, I haven't looked at your love oracle cards yet, but we haven't addressed love at all. So I would put money on it being love, to be honest. So, you know, this kind of seems like to me like you've built this beautiful castle, you've built this beautiful life for yourself, and now you're like, okay, where's my partner? Where's my partner? Where's the one for me? And this could also be talking about, though, like, if you know in your head, like, oh, but I'm really happy with my current partner, I really feel like we'll still be together in 5 years, this could be talking about you feeling like you have lost the spark maybe in your relationship. Maybe this is you yearning for how you two used to be, and knowing that you're gonna have to maybe reorganize your time so you have more quality time to spend with your partner. You want to recapture that romance, and that can happen sometimes, right? Like, all relationships go through ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and different cycles. And, you know, if you've been together with someone for quite a long time, yeah, sometimes things do get stale. Like, you might need a tune-up. You might need to reevaluate your relationship and communicate and see how you can get back to a better place, right? Yeah, I think every relationship goes through that at least once, right? And this can also be talking about wanting to expand like your empire, you know, like wanting to expand your work life even more, because we do have ambition here. So, you know, it could talk about, you know, you kind of looking out at the horizon and saying like, okay, what legacy do I want to leave behind? How can I take this even further? How can I push this even further? So just take what resonates. But we're going to look at your love life, and then before I forget, we'll also get some houses that are going to be significant, and then we'll get some words of reassurance from your guides. Okay. I did your reading entirely different than group 1 and group 2, just because I wasn't shuffling on camera, and so I felt like I needed to do a little bit extra for you guys. Okay. So we have self-love. Accepting and loving yourself is key in either attracting or maintaining a healthy relationship. Focus on what makes you unique without comparing yourself to others. You are unconditionally loved by the universe. And then we have healing here. You are in a phase of healing your heart. This can be from a current event or old emotional pattern that needs to be released. This is a time for self-care. And then we have time to say goodbye. The situation or relationship you are in is facing a dead end. It's time to move on and let go. All endings bring new beginnings. Okay. Let's all take a collective deep breath here. I'll wait. Okay. So we did have healing before, didn't we? And I believe we also had mentioned self-love before as well. So I do feel like you're in this place where you're feeling really, really good about yourself. And this does look like, oh man, that's so loud outside. It's just bothering me. I really hope you can't hear it. This is really kind of looking like a breakup, isn't it? With time to say goodbye, healing, and self-love, it looks like a breakup. It doesn't necessarily have to be, though, because it does say old emotional patterns. So this could be saying goodbye to those old insecurities because you are feeling so good about yourself. And so maybe what you're yearning for is your true love soulmate because you are finally ready. Or maybe you're in a place where you finally feel ready to get married, and that's what you're yearning for because you have done the work. And like I said, I still feel like this could be talking about feeling like your relationship has gone stale and wanting to reignite that spark, with the rose being on fire here, like wanting to get that back. And yeah, so, and this could even look like you going to couples therapy, getting some help and getting, you know, back on track. So we're talking about 5 years into the future, so you're really going to have to just key into your own judgment and discernment about how exactly you want to take this. But your cards are picking up on a very like clear theme here, right? Of like, you know, healing, working on yourself, and saying goodbye to anything that's really not serving you. Okay. So now we're going to get 3 houses that are going to be significant in your life 5 years from now. So we have the 10th house. This talks about career and status. So that's everything we've been talking about for basically your entire reading, especially your tarot. And this is also Capricorn energy. So yeah, definitely your career and your status is elevating. The background noise was so loud. I was just saying you all got the 9th house here, which talks about philosophy and travel. The 9th house is also associated with Sagittarius, which is the teacher. So we did talk about that earlier, you being a source of inspiration to other people and people learning from your work. Okay. And then we also have the 12th house here. So I mentioned this in a different group, but the way the 12th house is coming through here is you really getting in tune with yourself and your own inner world and kind of looking to like, what are you yearning for? Like, what is going to make you happy? What is missing in your life? Because you're kind of like the girl or the man, the woman who has everything. It's reminding me of Britney Spears, her song Lucky. You know, like, oh, she's so lucky, she's a star, but she cries, you know, in the lonely night, or I don't know what the lyrics are, but you know, like you have everything. You have everything anyone could ever want on the surface, but what is still missing? You know, and maybe it's your relationship with yourself that's improving, you know, and you healing from the past, and that's, you know, maybe the last piece of the puzzle here, but yeah, you know, kind of understanding like what is motivating my dreams here, what is my subconscious trying to tell me that I'm not seeing in my day-to-day life, like what am I missing here? Because, you know, like it's not you being greedy, you know, like if you feel like there's still something missing, there's still something missing. Like, you know, it kind of, you may feel like bad about feeling this way, like, oh, I've just got rich people problems. Like, that's okay. Like, your problems are your problems. It doesn't change just because you get some money. It's definitely better having money, you know, than not having money, but still, you know, like you still have to, you know, work on your mental health and yeah, you know, see what's missing and how you can get to a place to where you're not feeling like you're missing something in your life. Okay. Now we're just going to end with some positive messages here from Spirit. So we have, you are capable, you can do this. And we have, it's okay to be afraid, but as much as you can, please try to act from love rather than fear. This is a very like opposite energy to the rest of your reading. I think this is where you're at now. So to see how much you will grow in 5 years' time is so incredibly beautiful, pile 3. I love that so much for you. And yeah, like just keep this reading in the back of your mind. Like when you start to feel those fears come up, especially around money and stability and, you know, feeling a sense of scarcity or maybe some insecurities, you know, in your physical appearance, just remember this reading and remember all the success and confidence and self-love that you will feel in the future. You know, just keep this reading in the back of your mind and let it be a source of comfort, reassurance, and even motivation, you know, if you're needing it. Okay, I'm not going to say my usual spiel because the racket outside is just awful. So I hope you all have a great night, a great day whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next one.